You are Locked On Marlins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans? Welcome to your Locked On Marlins postcast. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease on this very late Saturday night. And man, oh man, for a while we didn't think this game was going to get in, right? We wish it didn't. The Marlins get blasted. The Marlins get thrashed. The Marlins get bashed. How about that word? In Oakland, little historical reference there. The A's all over the Marlins, 20-4 today, and just not a good game for the Marlins all the way across the board, right? They fly across the country. Go figure, they leave Miami to deal with the rain, right? They lose the opener in the series yesterday. The bats were listless again. The momentum did not pack itself in the suitcases heading west on the plane, and the Marlins today didn't pack anything. There was a long rain delay. I thought for a while the game might not get played. I'm sitting there going, what's going on here? And then, bam, the A's get 2 in the second. Bam, the A's get 10 in the third. What a game for the Oakland A's. They're on fire right now. More on them in a minute, but the Marlins got absolutely blasted out of Oakland today. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast right here on Locked On Sports Miami and wherever you listen to your podcast. That could be Spotify, that could be Apple Music, that could be iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, you name it. We are where you find your podcasts, and very happy to say that we are brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want. Let's face it, you always want those prices, right? It's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. And, of course, you being a U.S. customer, you being a Locked On podcast viewer/listener, you know what I'm about to do next, which is to thank you for being here, making on your first stop every day, Locked On Marlins postcast and Locked On Marlins as well. Your first listen every day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So now that we get the business out of the way and keep moving forward with the show, half-hour show every day after the Marlins. And it's a little chilly in here, but I will say this about the Marlins. They have not done anything right all year. Nothing has gone right for them. They started the year 0-9. They've had a 7-game losing streak that they just snapped with a 3-game sweep over the Colorado Rockies, and it's fool's gold, and you start to think, hey, this team could be turning a corner, the momentum on offense, but then they trade Luis Arraez, and this is a 2-time consecutive batting champion and all-star. It's the best hitter on the team. He was raising his average. He was just about at 300, left at 299, was getting hot at the top of that lineup with De La Cruz behind him. They were really starting to get going, and it's a shame to see that he got traded yesterday to San Diego. They take him to Oakland, and then he flies from Oakland to Arizona, where he got 4 hits today. 4 hits for Luis Arraez today in his new Padre uniform, and his teammates are saying he's the closest thing to Tony Gwynn they've had in a long time in San Diego. And it's like, really? Marlins fans don't want to hear that, man, because this was their best hitter. And here now he's gone, obviously, right? And that's not a good thing if you're a Marlins fan. But how about this? Brent Rooker, the only all-star for the Oakland A's a year ago, he became the first A's hitter in nearly 30 years to hit 2 home runs in an inning. He hit a 3-run homer and a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning, and they were against 2 different pitchers. How about that? That's not a bad deal, right? He hit a 2-run shot off of Trevor Rogers, who's now 0-5. Trevor Rogers couldn't get anybody out. And then he added another one off Darren McCoffin, who also couldn't get anybody out. 21 hits, 20 earned runs, 3 pitchers. 2 of the pitchers gave up 8 apiece. The 3rd pitcher gave up 4. What are we doing here? Is this a major league team? What is going on? What's going on? I could see one pitcher getting bombed. It's a bad day. I could possibly, on a cold day in hell, see 2 pitchers blasted in one game on the same team. But three pitchers, not 1, not 2, but 3 come into this game and get blasted by the A's, who are on fire right now. And 3 pitchers, man, it's almost surreal, and it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine. The bats have not been coming alive for the Marlins either, and man, Rooker, who was an all-star a year ago for Oakland, is the 60th player, in Major League history to homer twice in an inning. Trey Turner was the last to do it. Phillies last year, August 19th. The last A's player. 3 guesses. If you're guessing anything home run related with the Oakland A's, you would guess this guy in the top 3. Probably number 1. It'd be Canseco, McGuire, and Reggie Jackson. And not in that order. It'd probably be McGuire, Canseco, Jackson, or McGuire, Jackson, Canseco. But it's Mark McGuire in 1996, right before they traded him to St. Louis. The A's haven't been the same since, right? But you had the Reggie Jackson, Joe Rudy, Raleigh Fingers, Vida Blue, Charlie Finley A's. You had, obviously Billy Martin managing the A's at one point, and a pretty good team with Ricky Henderson leading off in that lineup. And then Ricky left, but then Ricky came back, and then he was there with the Bash brothers and Ricky Henderson and McGuire and Canseco and Carney Lansford and Dave Henderson and Dave Parker and Stewart and Welch and all those guys. And then, of course, the Mulder, Hudson, Zito, Tejada, Giambi A's and Eric Chavez. Don't want to leave him out. A storied history to this franchise, which is leaving Oakland, and they will be in Sacramento. It's kind of funny. They'll be in Sacramento for 3 years, and then they'll be in Vegas on the Strip. But right now, they're playing really good baseball. J.J. Bleday, the former Marlin, and Shea Langeliers added home runs, 3-run home runs, and the game was delayed almost 3.5 hours by rain. This show was supposed to be done at 7 o'clock Eastern, right? And this game was delayed almost 3.5 hours by rain. You know what happens with a starting pitcher when you're sitting and you're waiting, but the other team's starting pitcher had to wait too, and obviously that affected him. And, we will get into that. Paul Blackburn, who's now 3-1, retired the first 10 batters and allowed 1 run and 4 hits over 7 innings for the A's. So it didn't affect him, right? What's good for the goose, good for the gander, right? And so if you're going to make excuses and say Trevor Rogers was affected by the rain delay, why was Paul Blackburn not? How did Rogers come out and get ripped like that? And it was all 3 pitchers. There's so many pitchers on the disabled list for this team. It's crazy anyway. And some of them are coming back soon. 47% of their innings pitched from a year ago on the DL right now. Just miserable right now for the Marlins. Just miserable. Bryan De La Cruz, Nick Fortes homered for the Marlins. Talking about Rogers, though, man. I mean, this dude, Trevor Rogers, just not getting it done right now. 7 runs, 8 hits in 2 1/3 innings. Got 1 out in the 3rd. And the next dude, McCoffin, comes in, and he just, man, you'd be better off with McLovin out there. You know what I'm saying? It was another tough day for the Marlins. Another brutal outing for their pitching staff. And looking at Rooker's home runs, he hit both of those right on the button. Just a great, great game for him. And, the A's are on fire right now. Where is this? I got to tell you something here. Where I just saw a number, and I hate to delay the show to look it up, but I definitely want to mention this in our next segment here. And pulling it up right now. We got a little bit of time here. Might be able to get it in this segment. So where is my... Man, the T-Wolves just killed the Nuggets tonight. I'm not going to find it right now. But the A's have won 8 of their last 9. They've won 6 in a row. They lost 112 games last year, a number that the Marlins probably passed by August at this point. Maybe July, if that's even possible. But they lost 112 games a year ago. They were terrible. And now they're on fire, man. They split 4 with the Yankees. They beat the Orioles 3 in a row. A couple of late game comebacks there. The Orioles and the Yankees, 2 of the best teams in baseball right now. The A's are on fire. Young kids, they don't know any better. A couple of the articles I've seen written about this game said, start the fire sale in Oakland. The A's have won 6 in a row and 8 out of 9. But this lineup, man, today, just crushing the Marlins. Toro had a couple of hits and 3 runs scored. Rooker, 3 hits, 2 home runs. 5 RBIs, 2 hits for Davis, 3 hits, and a couple of home runs for Davis. Will Davis had 2 home runs to start his big league career. And it's Billy Davis. And then Langeliers had 3 hits and 3 RBIs and 3 runs scored. And Hernaiz had 3 hits and 2 runs scored. And 6. So this team just offensively straight through the order against the Marlins, just it's batting practice, man. It's men's slow pitch softball. It shouldn't be happening against big league pitchers. You're pitching like, you want to know the Marlins pitching line? I'll tell you the pitching line right now. Is Rogers, McCown, and Rivera. Look at what you got here. You have 8 runs all earned on 8 hits in 3 1/3 innings for Rogers. McCown, 9 hits, 8 earned runs in should I keep going? 4 2/3. And then in 1 inning, not to be outdone, in 1 inning, Rivera allows 4 earned runs on 4 hits. So every single Marlins starter got crushed today. That is unacceptable for a big league ball club. That is unacceptable for a big league rotation. It's unacceptable to do a big league post-game show, which we're doing right now. It's your Locked On Marlins postcast with me, Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease, wherever you listen to your podcasts, as well as Locked On Sports Miami. Just a terrible day for the Marlins. Thankfully, the series ends tomorrow. What are the Dodgers going to do to these guys? What in the world are the Dodgers going to do to the Florida Marlins, the Miami Marlins? I do that once a show. Old school here, old head. Got the old Marlins jersey there, and it's like a Freudian slip, I think it's what you would call it at this point. But, man, they got crushed today. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. I'm Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease, and we are pumped. Every single day we add more and more great sponsors to our show here for you, and I am really excited to tell you right now about eBay Motors. It's one of the great things that eBay has to offer, right? Passion, drive, and patience. No, eBay doesn't offer that, but it is the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. I'm not talking about your spouse. I'm not talking about your best friend. I'm talking about eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle, your pride and joy, your love, and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, style, or more, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, I said number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Unbelievable. What a great day. Just 1 second there. Get the close in. Man, great day for the Oakland A's. Their fans, all 7,000 of them sitting there in the Coliseum, top of the 8,000 yesterday. 7,800 fans. They all have sell the team signs. The players are in on it now. They're not selling the team. They're moving to Vegas. Would you ever do anything if you were moving to Vegas in 3 years? If I'm moving to Vegas in 3 years, I'm not doing anything except doing whatever it takes to make sure that happens and that I end up in Vegas in 3 years. But the A's, the way they're playing right now, man, this is exciting for A's fans. It's been a long time. Look, the Marlins are 9-25. They're 13 and a half games out, which is 9-26 now, I should say. 13 and a half games out, right? 13 and a half games out. More than that now. Let's see. How many games are they out now? They are 14 and a half games out. 8 behind the Mets and Nationals, who are 16 and 17 each, and that's for the seller of the National League East. The Phillies at 23-11, Braves 20-11. At the top of that division, the Dodgers 22-13 sit atop the National League West, and that's who the Marlins are going to play next. The Diamondbacks at 14-20, pretty disappointing like the Marlins this year. The Padres are 18-18. Luis Arraez goes there. And now he is going to, and Xander Bogaerts has not done anything for them at the second base position. So now Luis Arraez goes there. 4 hits in his first game with the Pods. 4 hits for Luis Arraez. And how about this? Arraez was really hitting well at the top of the Marlins lineup. Everything was starting to go for them offensively. And you just don't know what this team would be capable of if he were here and still going on this streak right now. They played themselves out of that. They blew it earlier in the year. And they have no one to blame but themselves. And it's going to be a fire sale. They're going to get rid of everyone and anyone they can right now for the Marlins. And, it's just they don't have a lot of pop anyway in firepower. You got Berger coming back. Got a lot of pitchers coming back. But the Marlins just have not been able to get anybody out. And when they're pitching well, they're not hitting. When they're hitting well, they're not pitching. You name it. When they're doing both, they're not running the bases well. And it's just a bad thing for the Marlins right now, all the way across the board. The confidence is shot in that clubhouse. It's not an easy thing to get through. Blackburn with a brilliant outing today. He's 3-1, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run. A couple home runs for the Marlins today. Fortes hit 1, and De La Cruz hit 1. Now Chisholm's in the leadoff spot hitting 226, and Bell at 186 is the DH, and it's not getting it done, man. Berger's coming back. You got some pitchers coming back as well. But this is just, it's man, you thought with that sweep that things were changing. You thought that sweep really would give them a shot in the arm. You thought that sweep would help them keep it going and really build some momentum, just unable to do it. And when you look at that Athletics lineup, they're playing batting practice right now. They are playing batting practice right now. The Marlins left 7. They were 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They left 7 men on base. The A's left 10 on base, and they were 7 for 14 with runners in scoring position. 500 average. 500 average. How about that? The Marlins, Sanchez had a double. De La Cruz had a homer. 2 extra base hits. Overall, just 7 hits. They did score 4 runs. 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. But, we'll see if they can get it going tomorrow. It's going to be a tough one. It's always a tough one when you're going like this and day in and day out, just struggling, scuffing. The runs aren't coming in. You got Sixto Sanchez going tomorrow. He got ripped his last time out. He's got an ERA 8.36. He got Joe Boyle going for the A's. He's 2-4 with an ERA of about 6. So about evenly matched there with the starting pitchers for tomorrow's game. And the Marlins don't start hitting. It doesn't matter anyway. And I wonder about this new lineup with Chisholm, Jazz in the leadoff spot. Myers did not start today, but he did have 1 at bat, walked and scored a run. He's been good since he came into the lineup. Guys hitting 400, they take him out. Schumacher wanted Chisholm at the top of the order. De La Cruz picking up the slack a little bit in Arraez's absence with 2 hits, 2 RBIs, including a home run. Got robbed also. One of the A's outfielders stretched out to rob him. And man, it's just a shame to see the Marlins continuously just getting pounded like this. I mean, when you look at the pitching this year, you understand that some of their best pitchers are on the DL, and you understand that 47% of their innings pitched from a year ago are out right now. But this is the major leagues, guys. This is the major leagues, and this is something that should be no problem. It should be fine. It should be something that, if your starting pitcher has an off day, they allow 4 runs on 5 hits, not 8 runs, all earned on 8 hits. And then the next pitcher comes in the 3rd inning. The first reliever comes in. He allows 8 earned runs on 8 hits in 4 2/3. And then the next guy comes in 4 earned runs on 5 hits in just in an inning. Man, I mean, that pitching line, I'm looking at it right now, and I can't. It's like Joe Buck. I can't believe what I just saw. And it's how I feel right now. This team is headed for disaster. And there's not even much for teams to pick from here. It's slim pickings to even have a fire sale. In order to have a fire sale, you have to have something that other teams want to buy. In order to have a fire sale, you have to have something that's worth selling. You have to have something that creates interest. In order to even have a fire sale, you have to have something that's worthy of being sold. And right now, they don't have it. Arraez about it. De La Cruz will probably be gone. Some of the pitching will probably be gone. You blame the ownership? You keep these guys around playing like this? Shoot, man. Send them to the minors after that. 20 earned runs by 3 pitchers. All of them get killed in the same game? No, definitely not. You're watching. You're Locked On Marlins postcast with me, Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease, Gries, at Jim Grease _ on social media. And this is just a tough one to do, guys. I know it's tough for you as a fan as well. But I'll tell you what's not tough and what's really cool. That's being a part of Locked On Sports today. Maybe you're watching ESPN. Maybe you're watching Fox Sports. You have to turn down the volume with all that shouting. Make the switch to Locked On Sports. today. And why not? It's free. It's 24/7. It's a sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Streaming without the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Step aside, take a break, come back, wrap it up. You're watching Locked On's Marlins Postcast, Locked On Marlins Postcast with me, Jim Grieshaber. There we go. Keep that Prize Picks one as long as we need to up there. And I will tell you this about Prize Picks. I like Prize Picks a lot, right? My name's Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. I want to thank you for being a valued Prize Picks partner and someone who realizes that Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. With more than 3 million members, Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app. See that? I made it a palindrome. With 3 million members, it's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action. While you watch your favorite sports and players, you just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks all over Major League Baseball, right? The season is in full swing. You don't want to miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Testing your skills on Prize Picks this baseball season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $100 with just a few taps with Prize Picks. So pumped about that. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. They also offer weekly promotions and special offers for the biggest moments in sports, and they offer Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this baseball season. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's code LOCKEDONMLB when you download Prize Picks today for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is the #1 fantasy sports app in the US of A. And speaking of #1 in the USFA, how about Monopoly Go? I know I talk about it all the time. Grease, please, we hear it all the time. Monopoly Go. That's because if there is someone, if there is anyone on God's green earth who is not yet playing Monopoly Go, I'm speaking to you right now. If you're that person, I don't understand what you are waiting for. You can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. Unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis to taunt your friends and rub it in their face when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine, and there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now, free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on, Monopoly Go. Looks like the Marlins, Monopoly, Marlins. See that I did there? Looks like the Marlins have a monopoly on losing so far this season, although the White Sox, Rockies, Astros. It's so nice to see the Astros losing, those little cheaters. So, man, it's crazy. But, the Marlins are in some deep doo-doo right now, 9-26. It's a long season. You thought they might be putting something together. They're not going to be this bad all year. They're not going to continuously just keep losing games. If they do, it'll be just a disgrace, obviously, right? It's not going to happen. They're going to pick it up a little bit, maybe play 500 ball the rest of the year once they reach a certain point. But for right now, man, this is just painful. It is painful. You got Sixto Sanchez on the ground tomorrow, on the mound tomorrow, and that's going to be, an adventure of his own right. His ERA is over 8. Joe Boyle, and they only use 3 pitchers today, so they have more in the bullpen. They don't even have a lot of pitchers in the bullpen that they can go to right now because they don't know what they have, period. So many pitchers on the DL. It's just a tough time for the Marlins. If I'm Schumacher, I keep tinkering. I keep finding ways to mess with that lineup, moving guys around, do whatever you can do, anything you can do, Skip, to get this team to get some sort of a spark, man. Light a fire under those booty holes and get them going. And that's what I'm saying. It's been tough. It's been real tough to watch this. And you got some real talent, young players on this team. You got some guys who can really play. And, you're just hoping that they would step into their own. And this is a gamble every time, ever since the movie Moneyball came out, right? Every time you try to build a team with a low payroll, every time you try to put together a winning franchise and you don't have the money to spend, you're taking big risks every year. And if you don't get certain levels of production from certain players who you're banking on, you have absolutely no shot. Teams like the Yankees, the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Braves, they have depth. They have players they can bring up from the farm system. They have benches on the big league roster. They have assets to trade. Again, I don't even think the Marlins can have a fire sale, because to have a fire sale, that's a big assumption, assuming anyone wants to buy these guys. Arias is gone. You want to buy any of these guys right now? De La Cruz, maybe a couple other ones, but do you really want to buy anyone on this Florida Marlins team right now? And I repeat, Luis Arias got 4 hits tonight for the San Diego Padres. Your second baseman went 4 for 5 in Arizona for San Diego. That's what it is, Marlins fans. And Sanchez tomorrow on the mound. I'm going to try to reverse the trend. I don't know how much faith you have in that. We'll be here with your Locked On Marlins postcast after the game. Going to be a lot of fun. But until then, and I'm going to wrap it up, because until then, I want you to know how proud and how happy I am to have you here. And I'm not giving up on the Marlins. They're going to have some win streaks this year. They're going to continuously get better. It might not be about making the playoffs or any kind of run. It might just be about improvement for the future. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. Locked On Marlins postcast on your Locked On Sports Miami and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Keep your game tight and your mind right for Marlins fans. As we end the show here, I just want to remind you that your first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now also available on Amazon Fire TV, and the free Fire TV channels app is here. It's called Locked On Sports Today. It's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local sports experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Let's try this again. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. Thank you for watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. 20-4, the A's beat the Marlins. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, series finale before the Marlins go to LA to face the Dodgers. Yeah, boy, watch, they'll probably sweep them. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Make it a great night.